Well, good afternoon, everyone. I guess it is afternoon. We're here at the Lower Manhattan Security Command Center, our city's state-of-the-art anti-terrorism, counterterrorism coordination center. And as you know, it is staffed jointly by NYPD officers and security representatives from the private sector. It acts as a communications hub, a place where a number of our city's advanced computer counterterrorism systems can relay information so that it can be analyzed and acted upon. Those systems include a network of cameras, many provided by private businesses in finance, banking, telecommunications, and other industries that are programmed to sound an alarm if they spot anything suspicious, such as an unattended package at the entrance of a building. And most of those cameras are in Lower Manhattan and Midtown Manhattan. The center also includes 2,600 radiation detectors that have been distributed to NYPD officers on patrol, as well as more than 100 license plate readers that are in place at bridges, tunnels, and streets. And several dozen mobile license plate readers are also deployed on the city's police cars, allowing suspected automobiles to be tracked in real time. These tools use the city's NYC WIN, W-I-N network, a secure network for public safety and other important public services operated by our Department of Information Technology and Telecommunications. Altogether, these tools have made the command center an invaluable resource for our city's more than 1,000 counterterrorism personnel, and it has helped us keep New York City safe in the face of repeated attempts to attack us since 9/11. The technology being used here can also play an important role in fighting everyday crime. And thanks to a dynamic partnership between the NYPD and the Microsoft Corporation, we are doing exactly that. Today, we're announcing the full launch of the Domain Awareness System. This new system capitalizes on new powerful policing software that allows police officers and other personnel to more quickly access relevant information gathered from existing technology and help them respond even more effectively. In other words, we're finding new ways to leverage already existing cameras, crime data, and other tools to support the work of our investigators, making it easier for them to determine if a crime is part of an ongoing pattern. And it will allow the NYPD to better deploy its officers. The system, you should know, was created as a result of police officers, detectives, and software developers working side by side with New York's finest, helping to shape and refine the system as a result of their years of experience, keeping New York the safest big city in the nation. The entire system is designed to improve how New York City's police officers do their jobs, and that makes it a potentially valuable tool that we can expand to precincts and boroughs across the city. And our Chief Information and Innovation Officer and DO-IT, Commissioner Paul Rahul Merchant, will work with the NYPD to see where else we can use this powerful tool in city government. Just as we can expand this new technology throughout New York, Microsoft will be able to market and develop the systems like this for other cities across the country and around the world. New York, as you know, already serves as a national model for combating crime, and now, thanks to our partnership with Microsoft, we'll be able to get more than a simple thank you for our efforts. You should know that as part of our agreement with Microsoft, the city will receive 30% of all revenues on Microsoft sales of the Domain Awareness System. So here's an investment we've made which is going to be invaluable to keep this city safe, but also we think we can recoup all of our expenses over a period of time and maybe even make a few bucks. Our administration has consistently, as you know, championed the use of technology when it can be used to help solve crimes and save more New Yorkers' lives, and that's what this system really is all about. It is also, I think, a great example of what the public and private sectors can do to improve people's lives when we work together. As I mentioned, Microsoft provided the technical and engineering muscle, but NYPD personnel were the architects of this new system. Our officers committed countless hours working with Microsoft engineers step by step on developing and refining this new technology. And I'd like to invite the man who led that process, Commissioner Ray Kelly, to tell us more about their work. Ray?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to first point out Jessica Tisch, who's here. Jessica is going to give you a demonstration in just a few moments, but Jessica certainly was an integral part of the development of this project. Richard D'Addario, who is our Deputy Commissioner of Counterterrorism, obviously a very important person in this project as well. We have Chief Waters and Chief DePace. Chief DePace is in charge of this facility here, and Katie Lemire, my counsel, who very much was involved in so much of the negotiations. When I came back to the police department in 2002, I found out that the department was still a very big user of whiteout and carbon paper. In other words, the technical revolution had, to a certain extent, bypassed the department. Mayor Bloomberg helped us change all of that. By 2005, we had put in place the Real-Time Crime Center. It helps the detectives very quickly tap into the vast amount of information that the police department has stored, but quite frankly, we didn't know that we had it in those days. Then 3 years later, we opened this facility, the Lower Manhattan Security Initiative, and the Midtown Manhattan Security Initiative, which is a follow-on. The goal of this project was to safeguard the financial district here, and later, as I say, Midtown Manhattan, safeguard them against a terrorist attack. We envisioned for LMSI a system of cameras, license plate readers, radiation detectors that could alert us in time to defeat or to minimize another attack. As the promise of both the Real-Time Crime Center and LMSI materialized, we realized we had the opportunity to create a powerful and coordinated domain awareness system to help us combat both terrorism and conventional crime, not just dealing with the matters in financial centers, but citywide, by coordinating our alert systems with vast amounts of data. The system allows us to connect the dots by instantly tapping into the details of crime records, 911 calls, license plate readers, videotape footage, and more. What makes this tool even more useful is that all the information is presented visually in geographic and chronological context. This allows investigators, analysts, and operational personnel to generate and refine leads, to identify patterns, and to optimally deploy manpower. In a moment, you're going to see the demonstration of how the system works. We will show you how we cull information and respond to real-time alerts of anything from potential terror threats to street crime. We'll show you how investigators get immediate access to information through live video feeds, and how detectives can access results of license plate readers and find a suspect, or map criminal history to reveal a pattern. We can track where a car associated with the murder suspect is currently located and where it's been over the past several days, weeks, or months. We apprehended a suspected killer that way in Queens soon after the license plate readers were put in place. If a suspicious package is left in front of a location, we can look back in time and see who left it there. Jessica will show you an example of that from just a few days ago. If one of our radiation detectors in the field sets off an alarm, the signal is sent here. We can determine quickly whether the sensor had detected a weapon or, more likely, an individual who had just undergone some sort of medical procedure. We'll also show you how police commanders can query our databases to review and correlate crime information with how resources are deployed. As the mayor indicated, this is a system developed by police officers for police officers. They worked with the developers at Microsoft in countless hours of focus groups. And the result of this joint effort is a tool that meets the needs of the department, one that will help protect New Yorkers and keep us safe from crime and terrorism for years to come. I want to thank the mayor for his support of the department's embrace of cutting-edge technology. And Microsoft, and Lieutenant General McDuffie is here representing Microsoft. I want to thank Microsoft for its commitment to develop this terrific tool. And I especially want to recognize the men and women of the department for their efforts. This is a great accomplishment for New York City and potentially for police departments and other governmental agencies across America. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Ray, thank you. I want to thank also Deputy Mayor Kaz Holloway, who is with us today, for helping to spearhead this project and make it a success. Having said that, of course, we couldn't have done it without Microsoft. And Lieutenant General Mike McDuffie is Microsoft's Vice President of American Services. You should know he has devoted more than 30 years to serving in our nation's armed forces, and his partnership on this project, I think it's fair to say, was invaluable. General, did I say something?
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Bloomberg and Commissioner Kelly, for those great words. It's really an honor to be here today. I would say that's paramount, but mostly I want for everyone to be assured that Microsoft is deeply committed to taking this initiative to another level. And as we say in our company, kind of a little bit of a word is that we're all in. And we're all in making this very, very special for our nation in this unique mission. I'd like to pause, though, to thank the New York Police Department and the city and the leaders, and as the commissioner just stated, all of those involved in building this incredible system jointly. Without the expertise and the knowledge of years and years and years of those that have to police this city and engage in this mission, you can't bring the technology to bear. And by partnering like we've done, we have brought the technology to bear in this incredible mission for sure. And then finally, I would tell you that it's a true privilege to be able to be trusted by this great institution in bringing our technologies in, and most importantly, to give us the opportunity to jointly now take this unique capability to other law enforcement agencies, justice and public safety institutions, not only in the United States, but also to our allies. Because as we know, that type of technology will enable our first responders, our supporters, and our decision makers in reality to be able to increase the velocity and increase the accuracy of decision making, whether at the ground level or in the command center, in order to continue this fight on terror and crime. So thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, Mr. Mayor.
General, thank you. Jessica Tisch is the Director of Policy and Planning for the NYPD Counterterrorism Bureau, and I would like to invite her now to give us a demonstration so you can really see how this technology works. Jessica?
Good afternoon. My name is Jessica Tisch. I am the Director of Policy and Planning in the NYPD's Counterterrorism Bureau. Today I'm going to overview for you and demonstrate certain functionalities of the NYPD's Domain Awareness System. This system represents a remarkable step forward in leveraging the power of technology to support law enforcement and public safety operations. Now, as the police commissioner noted, this system was developed by police officers for police officers. The development process required us to think critically and analytically about how we do our job day in and day out. The officers had to determine what type of information they wanted to see and how they wanted it presented to them. The result is a system that is perfectly tailored to meet the needs of its end users. It is a one-stop shop for law enforcement, the ultimate in domain awareness. Let me introduce Detective Daniel Higgins. He is sitting in the back. He is controlling the computer. And as I walk you through this demonstration, he will be the person operating the dashboard. I'd like to make the point that what you're going to see is not a mock-up. It's not a video. It is a real-time use and demonstration of a system that we have operational in this coordination center today. So today I'm going to overview 3 different use cases for the domain awareness system. We have real-time alerting, we have investigative support, and crime analysis. Let me jump right into the first use case for the system, real-time alerting. We like to alert, we at the NYPD, when we set out the parameters that we wanted Microsoft to build around, we told Microsoft that we wanted to alert on real-time events like events like radiation sensors going off in the field, or a hit on a license plate reader for a vehicle of interest. We also want to alert on things like 911 calls that could alert us to potentially suspicious activities or behaviors going on in the field. For example, 911 calls about suspicious package jobs, 911 calls about suspicious vehicles, 911 calls about explosions or hazardous materials. So let's look at the dashboard. I'll show you an example. A few days ago, we got an alert for a suspicious package. Someone called 911 and told the operator they saw a suspicious package out in the street. That alert came up on the dashboard in real time. It takes us to the place where the job occurs on the map, and it gives us all details that the department has about the job, including the location. This one happens to be in Union Square, the precinct of occurrence, who's responding to the job, as well as all of the text that the 911 operator inputs into the system. So in this case, the caller states that there's a box with a Jack Daniels label in front of the stage door to the Trace's Playhouse. States that the box is sealed, but has something inside. The box is 1 foot wide and 1 foot deep. Now let's bring the sensors into the equation. With the click of one button, I can call up all cameras within 500 feet of that job. It's shown in this radius here. Now, these cameras that are going to come up are going to be timed not to see live video feeds. They're going to be timed to show video from 30 seconds prior to the time of the call. The idea is see if you can spot the suspicious package at the time the call was made. So a quick scan of the camera shows that we have one camera on our system that looks right at the Trace's Playhouse. If we zoom into the system, you will see, excuse the quality, you will see the box right over there. Officers from this command center were able to rewind the video and find out when the package was left, who had left it there, and they were able to alert officers out in the field about the condition. They were also able to give feedback about crowd conditions in the area. The idea is get the information that can be useful out into the field as quickly as possible. So let's talk about another example. Let's move now from 911 suspicious package calls to license plate readers. As the police commissioner noted, we have different types of license plate readers deployed out in the field. We have fixed license plate readers and we have mobile license plate readers. When those readers scan a plate, that plate is sent over the city's wireless information network into our domain awareness system. When it reaches our domain awareness system, which is in real time, it is compared against lists. We have a terrorism watch list. We have another watch list for the Detective Bureau to support and aid in their investigations. If we have a plate that matches any plate on one of our lists, we will get a real-time alert in our dashboard. When we open the alert, it'll take us to the place where that plate was scanned. It'll also give us any information that the department has about that job, including the location of the scan, the time of the scan, the plate on the hot list. I want to point out it also gives us two pictures of the plate. One that is zoomed in so we can see the actual plate number, and one that is zoomed out so we can know make, model, color of the vehicle. Now I want to call your attention to this correlation workbench, this panel down here. This panel is incredibly powerful. It is what we call the brains of the domain awareness system. It is designed to essentially start an officer's investigation for him or her. So under the possibly associated vehicles tab, we'll pull up any time that plate has been scanned before on our system. With each plate, we'll get a date and a time of occurrence, as well as a list of all plates that have been read plus or minus 30 seconds of each scan. This is useful if we're looking for vehicles that are caravanning together. In addition, under possibly associated people, and I will tell you for purposes of this demonstration, we use an NYPD vehicle, so there will be nothing behind that screen, but I'll just explain it. It will call up any record that the department has that license plate number in it. So again, this is without any user interaction with the system. So if that vehicle license plate number is in a complaint or arrest report, or if it's an accident report or a parking summons, that record will be brought up to the investigators. You can imagine what this can do to aid investigators in their work. So now let's move away from license plate readers to our radiation sensors that we have in the field. As the police commissioner said, we deploy radiation sensors on cops' belts. We have them in vans. We have them in boats. We have them on the backs of police vehicles, and we have them on the roofs of precincts. So we are now doing a concerted effort to network all of those radiation sensors so that they send their data and, more importantly, their alarms into this facility in real time. So, for example, the detective clicked on an alert that came in for a radiation sensor that went off. It takes us to the place where that job occurred on the map. This one happens to be in the heart of Times Square. It gives us any information that we have about that job, including the location, the time, the precinct, the dose rate. Here it's 8.32 microrems. In addition, it reads isotopes. So here we see that it read technetium-99. Now, if you don't know what technetium-99 is, and I certainly don't, you can open a fact sheet about it. It'll give you basic information about its half-life, its atomic weight. But if you scroll down a little bit, it'll also give you general information that can be used to relay to the officers in the field who are responding to the job. So the appearance, typically this isotope is a salt in a solution. The origin, it's a man-made isotope. Common uses, and I want to make sure that I make this point very clearly. There are medical uses for this isotope and industrial uses. So this isotope does not only have hostile uses. There are perfectly reasonable explanations for why this isotope would be detected out in the field. If we scroll down even further, we'll see information about exposure to that isotope and symptoms. You'll see that very high exposure requires immediate hospitalization. Lymphocyte count decreases, hair loss. I also want to point out that the dose rate that we alarmed on was 8.32 microrems. That is about 100,000 times less potent than the lowest level of radiation for which medical treatment is required. But we here in the NYPD want to alert on it nonetheless so that we know what's going on in the environment. So as you can see, real-time alerting allows officers in this coordination center to understand what's going on out in the field and to relay important information back out to the officers who are responding to jobs. I also want to note that the alerts that we received here today are tailored to meet the needs of this command, but they can also be tailored to meet the needs of other commands quite easily. Now I'm going to transition to the second use case, which is investigative support. So if the detective bureau comes to us and they're working on a case, let's say they're working on a murder investigation, and they have the name of a perp, we'll say for this one we'll use Mr. John Doe. So we type Mr. John Doe into the search box and we will immediately pull up all records with Mr. John Doe's name in them. These are arrest reports, these are complaint reports, these are warrants and parking summonses. It will also plot for you all of the records on the map. This gives us some geospatial sense of where this activity occurs. Now, if we're looking for a particular Mr. John Doe, we can refine our search. We can refine based on who, what, where, when, why, and how. So if I only want to see complaint reports, and I only want to see complaint reports in the 4-6 precinct, with 2 clicks of the button, I can refine my results accordingly. So here you'll just see complaints for Mr. John Doe in the 4-6 precinct, and you'll get the same results mapped on the dashboard. Now you can also open any report and see the underlying record. You can imagine what this can do for investigations. Instead of having to go to siloed databases, this is designed to be the one-stop shop. Now, let me transition to the final use case that I'm going to demonstrate today for the dashboard, and that is crime analysis, understanding crime patterns and knowing where the activity is out in the field. So if the borough commander, for example, of the Bronx comes to us and he says, Jesse, I am looking for any 911 calls for shots fired last week in my borough. With a few clicks of the mouse, we can pull up all 911 jobs for shots fired in the Bronx. These are the reports right here. These are all of the incidents in the Bronx last week, and it will also update those results here on the map. You can imagine how this is a tool that will help the department learn how to deploy or understand better how to deploy our resources. So that's the end of my demonstration. I want to say that this would not have been possible without the hard work of both the officers assigned to this command and the dedication of Microsoft who helped us build this capability. Thank you.
Jesse, thank you. I think that gives you an understanding of just how complex the world is and what we're doing to try to keep us safe. There's no guarantees in life that you're ever going to stop every bad guy, prevent every bad thing from happening. But you should know that we are doing everything that we can to make sure that we are safe, that we have a future, that Americans' freedoms are protected. It is Microsoft is one of the great companies in the world. And it is true that we could not have done this without them, and I just wanted to personally thank them. Hopefully you'll make a lot of money out of selling this because we're going to get 30% of the revenue, so we like that. And I think it also is a good example of for you to understand just how forward-thinking Ray Kelly and all of the people that he supervises are. We're not your mom and pop's police department anymore. We are in the next century. We are leading the pack. That's exactly what you would expect us to do, and you have our commitment that we will continue to do that. Before I open the floor to questions, let me just summarize for today's announcement for our Spanish-speaking New Yorkers. Junto con empresa Microsoft, el Departamento de Policía ha creado un nuevo sistema informático para mejorar nuestra seguridad y ayudarnos a seguir siendo de ciudad grande más seguro del país. Como parte del acuerdo con Microsoft, al crear sistemas similares para otras ciudades, Nueva York va a recibir el 30% de los ingresos. And with that,